You're listening to Deliberate Living,
the podcast that inspires, empowers, and encourages listeners to live life more authentically.
My name is Holly Priestley, and I'm a nomad, coach, creator, and outdoorswoman.
And I'm Beers, a vagabond, joy artist, permissionary, and story breaker.
We explore different ways people choose to ditch the prescribed life we've all been sold and live on their terms,
Finding freedom and happiness however they choose.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Deliberate Living Podcast. I'm Beers.
And I'm Holly.
And this week we have a very special guest with us, Elle Erickson of the Booth Fairy Project.
Hello. So happy to be here.
We are so happy to have you. I first encountered you about a year ago up in Asheville at a pop-up that you had. And your energy was just so electric, so through the roof. You spread so much joy and delight, and it resonates with my heart so deeply. And I am really stoked that we have you here talking with us today.
My heart is racing right now. You just got me all amped up. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So sweet to hear. Thank you. Yes, it was so great to meet you too. I feel the same way about you. Yes.
So for the audience, can you just share a little bit about what the Booth Fairy Project is, what it is that you do, and yeah.
Sure. So let me try to figure this out because I really don't even know the answer to this. If anyone, someone call in and tell me what I do. I basically I'm really passionate about connecting with people and sharing what I know about the world, and what has helped me. And I want to make people smile. Like I really just want to generate smiles on this planet. So I started this booth. I had a friend build me a booth, and it's like a glorified lemonade stand. And the Booth Fairy, like the Tooth Fairy, right?
Booth. Okay.
Actual booth that I set up, it breaks down and fits in the back of my little Toyota Matrix. And I set it up and it's got a full menu, and the menu is just all over the place. Like we don't know what's going to happen when you come up to this booth. It's very just like, just winging it. It could be something like we're going to have a thumb war or a staring contest, but it could get deep. Like we can talk about your goals, or sometimes people end up crying and telling, just unloading on me, which is like, it's so awesome to be able to have this person that maybe they don't know, but they, people need to be heard and seen and connect with one another. So anyway, I'm setting this booth up everywhere and I'm loving it. I'm not asking for tips. I'm not even making any money. I'm just, doing it because of my passion. Like I enjoy it so much.
Like asking for a thumb war, or like sharing about their dreams or whatnot. Like those are the different things that are on the menu that people would see when they walk up to the booth.
Yes, there's like a full menu. It's like we can give you a standing ovation. I'm passionate about like help you quit smoking is on the menu, and vaping. I teach people about that. Maybe we want to do like a staring contest, do something ridiculous and silly, and they walk away, but they're still just inspired to be uninhibited in their lives. Like, even if it's just a silly moment, they're going to walk away feeling better and feeling inspired. And I have a little like RX sheet that is filled with things that I have gotten so much out of, like my TED Talks I love, and different documentaries and books that have helped me. So I'm like kind of like slide one of those in their direction,
Love it.
It's so much fun, and it can be, and of course hugs, like it all kind of, that was my number one, menu item is hugs. I got gluten-free hugs. I got organic hugs, paleo hugs. We got all the hugs, air hugs for a while during COVID. We went to air hugs. It's fine. It worked. So setting this booth up anywhere I could set it up, engaging with people and having so much fun and enjoying it, and realizing how effective it is at just helping people and connecting people. So all these ideas started to come to me of other ways I could like, you know, expand what I'm doing to connect with more people and to help more people and have more fun and be ridiculous, you know? Cause that's humor is one of my, like my whatever, I'm good at it. I'm naturally funny, and I use humor to, well, I can't not use humor. Let's get real. But like the humor allows people to like let their guard down, and it you know, it draws people in. Like, oh, shitty advice, $1 is actually the one thing I do sell at the booth. That's the one thing. And I tell people I don't recommend that. Like, you know, everything else is free, but they continue to want to order that. But sometimes I'm just like, I'm sold out of that. Let's get real. Let's just talk. Let's go deep. But yeah, so setting up the booth and working that it took me maybe, I think 6 years of doing that. And then these other things started, you know, kind of coming into my head, these ideas. So we started doing these Bliss Mobs. So that's one of my things that we do through the project that I love.
What is a Bliss Mob?
A Bliss Mob, thank you for asking, is basically like we're getting a group of people together. We've got the signs. It's like a protest, but a positive protest, right? So the signs all read things that uplift one another, uplift each other, and maybe makes people smile, like you're doing great, or free compliments. Shitty advice, $1, you know, this is a positive sign is a fun one. It's just like funny. So we get together in like a busy city, you know, like a busy area with pedestrians and everything in a city. And we just kind of post up for an hour or two, and we've got the music going, and we got our signs and maybe some bubbles and my megaphone, of course. And I'm like yelling out compliments to people and making people like boogie as they walk by. We inspire people to dance, and it's amazing. People like we did one yesterday where we met in downtown Asheville, and we did like a roaming one. So we just got on foot, right, and did like this positivity parade. So it was like 7 of us. It doesn't take a huge, you know, it's just sometimes smaller is better with that, because you can really kind of intimidate people on the sidewalk. But yeah, we got a bundle of balloons and my megaphone, and we carried the boombox, like, you know, on my shoulder, like we were cool. And I'll have the signs, and we just walked up and down the streets, and like people were stopping, double parking in the road. Oh my God, I want to compliment, like high five, air high fives. We were going into the businesses and just being like, we love you, you're doing great. And just, it was insane. It was so awesome. We all felt so alive. We were tripping on dopamine. We like had to stop and just like breathe. We're like, this is too good. Like, holy crap. Like, so the Bliss Mobs are incredible, and people are starting to do those in different cities now. Like the shit is spreading, which is, why not? Like, come on. So, I mean, I can go on about other activities that are involved with the project, unless you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear a few more of the things that you do.
Yeah.
You got the booth, you got the Bliss Mobs.
We got the Bliss Mobs. One of the really fun things we've been doing lately is the flower giveaways. So we go and get like just a dozen big, beautiful bouquets of flowers and grab a few of the people and form a little Bliss squad, and like either jump in the car or we go on foot, and we just go around and give people flowers. Like, we went to like the library and found a couple of custodians working, and we're just like, here you go, we have a delivery for you. And they're just like, what? Like, we went to some high schools and gave them to like the receptionists, and like crying, like just people crying, you know, like just making people's days, like brightening people's days. And we all know that has a ripple effect, you know, like they get that kindness, and they're going to go home, and maybe they're going to be a little, you know, less grouchy around their kids or whatever it is, right? Like, it's going to spread. It's science. It's not just woo woo shit. It's like, this is real. It works. So we do that. We go to nursing homes. I'm obsessed with going to nursing homes. I love it so much. I collect teddy bears and dolls, and I get like vintage hats for, you know, the cool guy vintage hats and scarves for the ladies. And I'll bring my boombox, and we go out there and we go from room to room, and we're just like, hey, you want a visitor today? And we come in, and like, I mean, we got them boogieing in their wheelchairs. We're bringing out silly hats, and they're putting on hats, and we're just having a good time. And connecting with them. You know, some of these people are so deprived of interaction and connection, and they just want to be heard, and we'll sit down and like listen to them tell us about their kids, or
especially like in coming out of, well, I guess 2020, when visitors weren't allowed to nursing homes at all for like a year.
That was tough. We went through the window. Sometimes we ended up having outdoor meetings. They allowed that, spaced apart with masks. So we did some Skyping visits. We kind of still stuck to it, or we would leave a box for them, a care box, but it's starting to pick back up again. Thank goodness. And we're having more one-on-one visits or whatever. So we went and picked up trash. We do this regularly. And I know that sounds like, why am I so excited? But like, honestly, it's so much fun. That's one of the things about what we're doing is like, I'm giving people opportunities to try out some of this volunteer work and to like discover how good it feels to do good for like our community. Like we have this built-in system that makes us release all the yummy chemicals when we're doing good in the world. So it's like this win-win situation. So I just kind of rally up the love troops, and we meet regularly, and I bring all the supplies, the trash bags, the gloves, everything we need to be safe, the safety gear. So we're all out there in our neon vests, and I got my megaphone, and of course the music's blaring. And we just make it fun. We're all together, and we got like 8 bags of trash like yesterday. And we're just, doing these things to make the community a better place. I mean, what else? I could go on. There's other things, but love my job.
What motivated you to get started? You said that you'd always just kind of been funny. You always like enjoyed, but what actually motivated you to get started and then keep going?
Well, yeah, like I said, like my mom, when I was growing up, my parents really encouraged me to be creative and be of service. Like she was a part-time clown. My dad's a 5th grade teacher. The whole first floor of the house is like, there's, easels, and, we had a big bin of dress up clothes right there, like next to the I mean, it's like, it wasn't just some room upstairs. Like it was great. And so I've always been, encouraged to be creative. And then I would, I guess from a young age, I started to do volunteer work, and get involved with that. And like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and different organizations. And that coupled with just being this natural, like I'm just an extrovert to the nth degree. Like, so I love that. I love to entertain. I love to be silly. And I'm very passionate about a lot of things that have helped me in my life. Put all that together. And I guess Burning Man was the, thing that really, one of the most pivotal points in my life. It really took me where I was and just.
Is that where you first set up the booth?
I worked a booth that was there. So there was a booth there, like the Lucy, like the psychiatric help 5 cents from Charlie Brown. Right. And so there was one of those there that was just there as an art installation for anyone that wanted to come and use it. So I found myself behind that thing, like every night at Burning Man. I'm like hogging the booth. I'm like, wow. I just was like, something clicked in me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is because like, we can't chase people down and be like, this yoga worked for me, or this is how you feel better. Like, people resist that. Like I used to be that person, like trying to really, I was so passionate. And the booth is awesome because it allows people to come up and they're in charge. It puts them in the driver's seat. They are making the choice to come up and engage. And so instead of me having to chase everyone down and like engage and connect and maybe inspire, I get to sit back, and then they can come up and be like, they're skeptical. What's this all about? What is this? I don't know. And like having people look like too cool for school. And then by the time we're done, they're just like, I fucking love you. Like, what? These should be everywhere. Like, so it's been an interesting challenge maybe to be like taken seriously, because unless you're engaging directly with me and you can get it, it's like, what is she doing? She's just out there having a blast and working this booth. And possibly putting glitter on people and everything. Like, how is this? And like, whatever, like, I don't know, but it's pretty powerful. And I don't know, it's impacted a lot of people and inspired a lot of people. I get a lot of feedback from people. Like, I get people literally saying, can my kid come and be dropped off at your booth so they can just be around you, you know, and be, you know, you're influencing them in the right way. And that's just like, whoa, that's huge.
Beautiful.
Like, are you sure? Just kidding. It's going to be rated R at times. But then, of course, one of the things I didn't mention, but where we met, is I do a monthly like pop-up shop, like a traveling trunk show, where I'm very blessed with the skills of finding really good thrift clothes. Like, I'm just, I don't know. So I find the thrift clothes, I set them up. I basically rent out a space once a month, and I put out all the clothes and bring in local artists that can, maybe they want a shot at, they've never like, you know, set up as a vendor anywhere, and they're doing their art, or they're doing tarot card readings, or there's a DJ, and maybe we have a Thai massage person. So it's like all kind of centered into empowerment and healing and community. And I keep the prices really low. It's like $5 to $30 for the stuff. And people come in, and I'm giving them this opportunity to, you know, shop sustainably, like to learn that they maybe don't have to go to, I'm not going to say any of the names of the places, but like some of this fast fashion stuff. And then they can feel really good about, you know, where they're getting their clothes. And I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm behind the booth talking about, you know, yoga or Burning Man or whatever we're doing. We're giving the standing ovation. And so it's kind of like I use the clothes to get them in there. You know, it's the vehicle to get to me. And then I can be like, oh my God, like, do you want to do these trash pickups? And here's everything that's going on. You want to be a part of it? And one of the things, oh my gosh, is that where we've been doing the wooden signs, and basically all the phrases that we've been using at the, you know, the positive protests, the Bliss Mobs, we have been putting on these like, you know, little pieces of wood, and that my friends stenciling, cutting out the stencils, and we just spray paint them. So it's really easy, really simple. And we've been putting them on telephone poles around Asheville. And it's like, yes, the feedback I'm getting from these people, it's like, they're like, oh my God, you don't understand. Like, I'm pulling up and I look up and I see a sign that says, take a deep breath. See, I just did it. You just did it. It's the phrase that is like, it's this pushy fucking phrase. It's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. Oh, never mind. I feel better. It's like, you know what I mean? People say like, I get a reset every time I go by there. I'm on my way to work, and it just helps me, you know, reminds me to breathe. Or the one that says you're doing great, or you're on the right path. People need this upliftment. They need this reinforcement, and it's working. So we're kind of taking back our advertisement, you know?
Yeah.
I got a billboard funded in town that was up, and it just said, take a deep breath. Yes. Not a logo on it, not nothing. And people just, I mean, it's amazing. So we're working on spreading this. We're getting this to other cities. 'Cause why not? Hello? Like, yeah. Duh. So yeah, it's pretty great. Oh my God. Yeah. I could go on, but anything else you want to know? Yeah. That was a good answer. I crushed that. Oh, sorry.
Pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back.
I'm so used to giving compliments. It just kind of keeps rolling out, whether it's to myself or, you know, it's a habit.
I love it. I just saw something on one of the social medias that was this little 3-year-old girl went around and was saying good night and I love you to everyone. And then they heard her say to herself, good night, myself. I love you too. And it was just, oh
my God. It melts your heart, right?
And yeah. And that's, and like, we look at that type of thing and like that from like a 3-year-old kid, and we're like, oh, that's so adorable. And then like somebody compliments themselves as an adult, and like we kind of tend to have like this little bit of a should you be doing that?
Oh gosh, right.
Like, but it feels so good and it's so important.
I find myself often like at my events just like saying like, I am amazing. Like I'll do something that's incredible and I just have to say it, and people kind of look at me like, who does she think? Like, they're just so like, wow, she just is saying great things about herself that loudly. And I think it's awesome to be the example of that, because I mean, it's okay to know you're great or to say nice things about yourself and do it in public. And I think ultimately it inspires others to do that too. I think we're so worried about looking arrogant or too confident or something. And it's like, no, I often have been teaching people. I'm sorry,
was that something that was modeled for you, like by your parents? Were they very much like, I mean, you said your mom was a part-time great teacher. So obviously they're fun and playful anyway. But were they kind of like, yeah, be as confident as you want to be, like spread positivity? Or was it more of like, you know, the standard American diet of don't be confident, that's arrogant, don't be selfish, don't be self-centered, narcissistic, don't think too highly of yourself because like that's bad. Did you overcome any of that like storytelling, or was that just how you were raised?
That's a good question. I think it was kind of like they just basically let me go and just organically unfold. There wasn't an either thing, it was just kind of like, here you go. We're going to give you all the nutrients you need and everything and the foundation. And then we're just going to let you go. I mean, obviously they, not completely or whatever. I still was taken care of well, but yeah, I didn't feel like they were pressuring me one way or another or trying to shape or mold me. I think it was honestly because of that. And then allowing me to become who I am and be completely free. That has given in this, like this volunteer work, like that I've been doing, it's like, it's made me so secure in who I am and made me so confident because I'm doing work that I love. And that's like, I'm completely on the right path. I feel so in alignment, with my work. And like,
I could see it.
Thank you. I just know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so fed. I love my life. I love my job. I love what I'm doing. I know that I'm doing the right thing. Like, I know it should be spreading. I'm getting the feedback, but like, I think that's ultimately because of that, because I wasn't pushed. Like, I didn't go to college even. Like, I was just like, I kind of just went out into the world and like carved my way and then created this life, created this job. And therefore, since I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it's like, I've just gained this confidence. Because, it's like, and the volunteer work, I'm telling you, that's the magic, like service work. Holy crap. If like anyone is trying to find out what their purpose is in life, which I actually tell people, like, don't worry about it so much, like just follow your heart and I recommend doing service work. And that will help that unfold. Of course, Burning Man doesn't hurt or anything. You can always go to a regional, right? And like try it out for a day and then skedaddle if you don't love it. But anyway, I feel like I'm living that now. I'm living Burning Man. Like I'm living a fully expressed life, uninhibited life that is on my own terms and that is giving back to society.
I love that.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, I know that you were organizing one of these Bliss Mobs down in Atlanta, and something happened that initially was a little bit of a confidence downer, but it turned into something beautiful. Can you share that story?
Sure. Yes, I would love to. So I've been taking my bliss to surrounding cities for a while now. And I'm spreading this mission and looking for some love ambassadors to keep it going. And recently I was going to go to Atlanta. And I hop in my car. I actually reached out and had some people interested and ready to join me, because I usually bring like 15 signs. And a lot of times, especially in a busier city, people come up and they're just tourists or whatever. And, cause I'm like, join us, we have extra signs, and they're coming up and trying it out. And I love that, that's so awesome. Those are the people that end up reaching back out and saying, I live down in Florida. I want to start leading these Bliss Mobs. And we get it started. I send them the stencils. But yeah, so Atlanta, I'm a little intimidated, right? I'm a little intimidated. It's a big city, crazy traffic. but I get into the city and stay with a friend. And then the next day is the rally, and I have this dedicated spot for it and everything. And like one by one, I'm getting messages from people like, I can't make it, or, you know, I end up getting sick. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm just kind of like, okay. Cause I get wound up and nervous before any event that I have, to be honest. Like even the trash pickup, I'm just kind of like,
and you do it.
What am I doing? Like, like I'm out of my comfort zone a little bit, which is great though. Like, I love that. I love that I get out of my comfort zone and I push through it. And then pretty much within like 60 seconds, I'm there. It's not like this big deal, but, it can be daunting. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to this city and everybody has canceled on me basically. And I have this moment where I'm like, I kind of want to pack up and just get out, like just get out of Dodge. Right. And just I don't have to show up. Like no one's going to know or whatever. So I pushed through that. I actually called a friend and got some support and we had a good talk. So I'm like, okay, I could do this. So I end up just going and I set up like I have like, and it's not just, you know, a couple signs. Like I set up my whole like A-frame with information about my project. And I've got like some big signs that I put up with positive phrases. And I've got all these signs leaning up and, I post up with my music and my megaphone and everything. And I have like the free compliments one is what I use because that's a really good one because it engages people, you know, and they can come up and so nervous, feeling so weird and like a weirdo, like who does this? But what do you know, like within, 60 seconds, there was someone coming up and this was like on a busy trail, where lots of pedestrians are walking and biking and cycling and really busy area. So
along the Beltway or?
Yeah.
The Beltway. Yeah.
I'm terrible with directions and all that stuff. But so they're coming up and immediately ordering compliments and like just groups of people, families are coming up, people are stopping on their bikes. And so then people are coming up, can I grab a sign? They're trying it out. And it was really, really cool in the way that instead of me being with a big group, it was more inviting for people to come up. And I ended up having really beautiful conversations and connections with people because I wasn't in this mob. It was actually, felt safer for them to approach me and ask me about, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And then like, holy shit, like we need more of this in the world. Like, oh, I want to do this. How do I do this? So I was able to have more engagements and actually inspire people in that way, because honestly, this one guy ended up coming and he stayed for like 3 hours. So it turned out me and a buddy holding these signs. Cause if I can just have one person with me, it changes everything, but so many people wanted to, connect with me and do this in their area. And it changed everything for me because I'm going to start I was trying to get people to start these bliss mobs, lead a bliss mob, which, people can do, but not everybody is as extroverted as I am. And it can be kind of like intimidating. So what I've been doing lately is like, hey, grab a one buddy and you each got a free compliment sign, or one says, shitty advice $1, or you're doing great and free compliments. Make sure one of the signs is one where they can engage and approach, and actually ask for something. But yeah, it just takes a couple of you to post up and have some music, and that's it. Like, it was so easy, it's way easier that way, I think, than to think you have to organize this whole mob of people. So that kind of changed everything for me. Like, holy crap, I can and I've been sending people in Asheville out on these like free compliments challenge, like a sign holding challenge. Like, hey, you want to grab a sign, grab a buddy, and then you go and just walk around for about an hour and see what happens. And they come back and they're just like, first of all, they're so alive. I can just feel them. They are just vibrating, like, they are just beaming. They have permagrin. They are smiling. They report back that like, holy crap, Elle, like, I never thought it was going to be like that. Like, this is like the best drugs ever. Like, they come back just telling me like, they engaged people who were on like double parking, trying to get a compliment. Like, they were meeting just so many people and felt so alive and so connected. And it was like the medicine, it's like what we need, especially right now, for people to just engage with each other. And it's like, put the silly differences behind and let's just love each other again. And to give kindness to a stranger and then for them to receive it. And then it turns into this like freaking free compliment sandwich. So it's been really cool to see the results of these challenges. Like they come back to me, I'll be at my event and they'll come back and be like, report back about what just happened. And I'm like, I know. That's what I'm trying to get people to do this. Cause it seems kind of obvious to me. Like after we got done yesterday, we were out there for about an hour, given like with our signs and stuff. We made so many people smile. We brightened so many people's days. We made people boogie in the broad daylight, in the sunshine, sober. It's like, that's brave for people to do. That accelerates their healing in their own world and creates this ripple effect of, and positivity and healing and love and kindness. So it's like, let's go, let's do this. I'm actually about to start a Kickstarter and I'm starting with a 10 city tour to spark this. So I'm going to do 10 cities and I'm going to bring like 30 of the wooden signs. I'm going to bring a Booth Fairy starter kit with the handheld signs and we're going to get this going and just let's go, it's time.
Yum.
I know.
How do you sustain this, like energetically, emotionally, financially? How do you, how do you make it work?
Okay. That's a good question. I get fed from this, right? So being an extrovert, like I get so much from even like, look at me now, like I am amped just from talking to you and talking about this. I get so excited. So it feeds me. Now, after my events, like if I do a 3-day, I'm going to work my booth down in Florida here. I'm going to do 3 days and straight. I'm going to need a couple of days. Like I'll just zombie out. I have to shut all the curtains, hide because my dopamine levels drop, it's just how it is. So I have to do a lot of self-care in that way. Like, and I take really good care of myself. I try to eat healthy. I don't really drink much alcohol. I do yoga a lot. Like I'm out in nature. Like, so I try to, really take good care of myself. Financially, I'm funding it through two things. I'm funding it through my monthly pop-up shops where I sell the recycled clothes. Right. And, not making a ton on the free compliments. Like that's really not bringing me. I could start charging for the compliments, but I don't want to do that. Instead, I have a Patreon. So my Patreon, I don't know if that's a platform that people use, like humanitarians, artists, and people use that. It's a monthly subscription-based platform where people pledge, like they do micro pledges. So it's like, if I can get a huge group of people that support what I do by giving a couple bucks a month, then they don't really miss that. And then collectively we can use that to fund the project. So my Patreon is growing. It needs to grow faster. No, but yeah, that's what's up. That's how it's working. So I'm working right now on like, maybe, am I going to start my own podcast or I need to get the word out there and get people to help me, get this moving faster, which I think I'm doing right now. Look at this. I'm so excited to be on here. Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
Yes.
So if you're listening, if you love what Elle is doing, please support her. Please help this spread. Check out the Kickstarter. We'll include a link in the podcast description, as well as a link to the Booth Fairy Patreon. And give her your support. Let's see if we can help make this 10 city tour just the start.
We are. There's going to be chapters in all the states. We need them in all major cities. So I love it. That's what's happening. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I love it. Holly, did you have any other questions?
No, I think one of the important things that she said there, though, when you asked about how she sustains it energetically, emotionally, et cetera, is that, like you're an extroverted person and you seem pretty blissed out all the time. But also, when you have that like dopamine high, it goes away and then you have a drop, and that's normal. And I don't know that we talk about that enough. And I think that that is really an important thing to share. Like, yeah, you have peaks and valleys, and like you just had a massive peak at this, Bliss Mob or at Burning Man or at whatever festival you went to, or even just like a weekend with your friends or family or something like that. And then like maybe you feel a little icky afterwards and you're like, oh, I don't feel good. And like we don't always know why we don't feel good, but it's totally normal to be kind of like needing to reset, needing to rejuvenate after such an expenditure of joy. And that's fine and normal. And I think that's really important to share.
Yes. I'm so glad that you said that. Yeah, that's true. And it happens to me regularly. I'm used to it. One thing I noticed for me that's helped is like I'm now like eating healthier. So I'm eating, like I'm consuming less caffeine. I'm consuming less processed sugars. I know that doesn't sound fun at all, but it's cool how I've noticed it affect me with this, these dopamine drops. Like I'm not as tired after the events. I'm not as wiped out. But yeah, I still am. And like people ask me all the time, like, you're always happy. You're always like, ah. And it's like, no, I'm a person. Like I'm human. I get sad. I get frustrated. I get angry. I tend to be kind of a happy-go-lucky person for sure. But yeah, it's important to try to remember, like I'll be in bed, like after a big event laying there and I'm just like having these sad thoughts. I'm like, what is my deal? Like, am I depressed now? Like, I'm not a depressed person. And then I'm like, oh yeah. Like I just gave away all that, all of my energy to this event. And it's like, that's what it is. And I just have to rest and rejuvenate and try to like not talk, which can be difficult. And so then then I notice, give it a day or two of rest and I'm back. But that is something that, people don't often discuss. And it is definitely a real thing.
That's something like I picked up on it when you first said it, but it wasn't until Holly highlighted it and asked about it a little bit more that it sunk in for me. And it's something I'm personally not aware as I would like to be. And I have these peaks and valleys, and I get so frustrated with myself sometimes in the valleys. And just that reminder to care for myself, to love myself in that, and to recognize that it's just part of the natural course following a high. And
exactly. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just like it's part of the deal, and it's okay. You can't just be up here all the time. That's crazy. You gotta dip. You gotta, it's
it's normal. Yeah. And that doesn't mean like the peak wasn't worth it either. I think for me, like when I first started becoming aware of the valleys after my peaks, I would be like, oh, I guess, some kind of negative thought, like, oh, I'm not as happy as I thought I was, or that wasn't as much fun as I thought I was, or maybe it wasn't worth doing. And it's like, no, it's totally worth like being blissed out, going to these events that make you happy, or hanging out with these people that make you happy. And then also like resting, self-caring, like being passionate and like, and patient with yourself afterwards, I think is important. And like for somebody who's like not doing the work that you're doing, like as often as you're doing it when it's like more of a new thing, it's like, it feels weird, and it's, you don't know to expect it. You don't know if it's normal. You don't know if it's okay. And I think that, like the whole purpose of this podcast is to share all the ways people can live more deliberate lifestyles, more authentically, more, wholly embodied, as you said that you're doing. And part of that is embodying the fact that you're not going to feel amazing all the time. Some days you're just going to feel like shit. It happens to everybody. It's normal.
See, and I have a tattoo for the heights and the depths.
Nice.
And it's this very concept, but for me, my application of it has been so focused on the macro level of recognizing that, there's these seasons where I am going to be down because I've opened up my heart to experience great joys. And that is often going to come with pain as well. And I need to be open to being able to experience the pain if I want to be able to experience the heights of joy. But then to look at that at a more micro level of just like, I had a really high dopamine day and it was amazing. And probably like that's only sustainable for so long before I am going to have a low. And it's not because I did something wrong to not be able to sustain it. It's just, it's just what occurs. And I love applying that. And thank you both for helping to apply that in a different light than I have before. Yum.
Yay. Yay. Couple things that I just to add is like a Epsom salt bath. I tend to do long soaks in those when I'm, when I know I've dipped out with my dopamine, and staying off my phone helps, doing less of the screens help. So there's, little tricks and tips and tools, of course, you can use to lessen that, that dip. So
yeah.
See me at my booth for the rest of them. Yay.
Awesome.
This was so much fun.
This has been so much fun.
Of course, I appreciate talked about myself the whole time, so I guess that's why. I love this. Let's do this again.
It's a topic you know very well.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you have been such an easy interview subject because we just kind of prompted with a few questions and you just talked and it was fascinating and beautiful and so much fun.
I was nervous. Got out of my comfort zone again. Yay.
You did
Thank
it.
you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And we already mentioned you've got your Patreon, you've got your Kickstarter, you're launching. Where else on the interwebs can people find you, find out about what you're doing, get involved?
Yeah. If you just search the Booth Fairy Project, you'll find all the things. I'm on the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all those silly things. So awesome. I'm out there and you can find me. You can find me super easy.
Thank you to everybody who has been a part of this podcast episode and every podcast episode in the past. Even if this is your very first one, we are friggin' stoked that you are here because, this podcast is very much like for the audience, by the audience. And we really appreciate you guys. We also have a Patreon for the show. I have my own separate one as well. And Beers and I have our own separate Instagrams and we have one for the show. And so if you're not following us on those, please go do that. If you got something out of this episode, do the thumbs up, the 5 stars, the liking, all the things, because that helps the algorithms and the computers and all of that see us and get this in front of the eyes of more people who need the Booth Fairy Project, who need more positivity in their lives, who need to know that the dip after the peak is normal. There are a lot of people out there who need this information. And, leaving us a review or even sharing the specific episode is a fantastic way for us to share this with more people. So thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.